But he didn't come to be served. He came to serve and to give his life. You'll never really know what life is until you're willing to give your life away. And the more you try to hang on to your life, the Bible tells us, the more you lose it. And the more you give it away to Jesus, the more you really find it. So I'm just trying to shake something inside you today and go, what are you living for? What are you giving all the value of who you are to? And is it worth it? Will it show up in eternity? But Pastor, my one little life can't make that much of a difference. I beg to differ. There was a guy, I want to close with this story, by the name of Edward Kimball in 1855 who lived in Chicago. He was a Sunday school teacher. And we'd call it a small group leader. And he had a young man in his Sunday school class by the name of Dwight. And Dwight was a bit of a rebel, and Dwight was a bit kind of antagonistic towards faith and Christianity. But Edward had such a heart for Dwight that he determined he was gonna win him to Jesus. And Dwight, even in high school, was working in this shoe store. And one day he just felt such the urge, Edward did, to go visit him. And he went to the shoe store, and he didn't even know what he was gonna say. And he even says of himself, he wasn't that remarkable of a person. But he went into the shoe store and he sat down with Dwight and he began to talk to him. And by the end of the conversation, he had led Dwight to Christ. And this young teenager's life was radically changed, and his name was Dwight L. Moody. And Dwight L. Moody would start the Moody Bible Institute, and he would pastor a great church in Chicago, a part of a great awakening in America. But it wouldn't stop there, because Dwight L. Moody would end up leading a guy named Wilbur to Christ. And this guy, Wilbur, would end up leading the famed baseball player Billy Sunday to Christ, who would win thousands and thousands of people to Christ, who would end up leading Mordecai Ham to Christ. And Mordecai Ham means nothing to you, but I bet Billy Graham does. And it was Mordecai Ham that led Billy Graham to Christ, and Billy Graham would in person preach to over 200 million people, leading millions of people to faith in Jesus, all because one small group leader said, I'm gonna live out the calling of God that is on my life. And so don't ever think that your gift is too small. And don't ever think that what you're doing is insignificant. That as you go onto your job and you live out your calling, and as you go to school and you live out your calling, and wherever God has placed you in the sphere of influence within our society, you have a mission to live out. You have a purpose, you have a calling. And you could be the Edward Kimball that leads a teenager to Christ, who leads somebody else to Christ, who leads somebody else to Christ, who leads the next Billy Graham to Christ. And your impact with your calling could touch millions of lives. And so I'm gonna ask you again, what are you living for? What are you living for? I would challenge you to live for the call of God, the purpose of God that is on your life.